Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our August meeting. The time is 6 o'clock and I call the meeting to order. Welcome our guests tonight. We have Kim and Teresa here, as well as Haley Jack and our famous reporter, Veronica Birchall. Thank you. Thanks for coming. I know Councillor Burton sends her regrets. She's in Newfoundland. Lucky girl.
Oh, there's nothing to be regretful about there.
I think it was regrets in air quotes, right?
Oh.
Next item is approval of the agenda. A motion reads that the agenda for the council meeting Monday, August 12th, 2024 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor McConnell, Deputy Mayor Young, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Item 3 is declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest tonight? No, seeing none, we're going to move on. So tonight we have a presentation from R&J Youth Services. Welcome. The floor is yours.
There should be a slideshow. There it is. So both Teresa and I are from R&J Youth Services. We both actually worked with the Intersections and Youth Mental Health Court division. So just a little bit about R&J. We've been providing services within Lanark, Leeds and Grenville since 1987. We are a registered charitable organization funded by the Ministry of Children and Youth Services, the Ministry of Attorney General, and community donations. Okay. We have offices in both Rockville and in Smith Falls, but we are able to travel throughout Lanark, Leeds and Grenville, and we meet youth and their families where they're at. So, yeah. So if we look at the statistics by region, this was from the number of youth served between 2021 and 2023. On here, we pulled from our records actually how many youth actually from the town of Prescott we served, and that was 116 youth. And we'll talk about some of our programs following up. But we do serve quite a few youth within this area and within the surrounding areas also. The total served was 1,685 youth from April 2021 to March 31st, 2023. Interesting that 116 does not include, we ran 2 choices programs at St. Mark's, which is a 10-week substance use prevention program. And it also did not include, we did a presentation at the high school here, South Grenville, on social media and internet use for the whole school. And there was 330 approximate kids that attended that presentation too. And that was done in conjunction with our local OPP. Okay, looking ahead, we are on track right now to serve 1,600 youth for our fiscal year. So our fiscal year typically runs from April 1st to March 31st. So when we look at, that sounds like a lot of kids with a staff of only 12. We look at the different programs that we run. So Intersections, which is the program that Teresa and I mainly do, is kids aged 8 to 18. And that's normally referred by the police. We do get some from schools and family and children's services, and those are any youth that may be at risk of becoming involved within the law. We also do pre and post charge diversion. We do court support for the youth and their families. We look at mental health diversions for youth. Our Connections program is our school-based program. So if a youth grade 7 to grade 12 is having difficulties and can't actually get into a school, we have a place where we are able to, we have a teacher on staff and we have 4 youth workers that work with the youth and give them what they need so that they can transition back to their home school. We do a direct accountability. Our Choices program, which I mentioned, is a 10-week program ran within schools on substance use prevention. And then we also do the burnout, which is a Gananoque project in conjunction with the Y and supported by the Gananoque Police and Fire. They give us a big trailer, we fill it full of toys. We sit down at the burn and any youth aged 12 to 18 can access. We always have pizza and food, and if we bring the food, they tend to come. And we also do the Stingers after school program in Rockville. What we're seeing for trends right now, definitely increased caseloads, increased complexity of those caseloads, especially in our youth mental health court support. A lot less volunteers. That's been kind of since COVID, and we see that kind of with a lot of agencies that we kind of work with. We're seeing less opportunities for youth and increased wait lists to get into mental health programs or other supports that youth and their families may need. With all of these, that creates a bit of a lack of service, which increases the complexity of each case. And again, I mentioned some of our funding sources, so our Ministry of Community and Social Services, Lanark leads in Granville Addictions and Mental Health, United Way of Leeds in Granville is one of our big supporters. We do rely on community grants and donations, private donations, and also the Sifton Foundation. Our next one is our annual operating cost. So for last year, our income was $585.49. Our total expenses were $795,700 with a deficit of $210,665. So then the big question is how you can help us. So obviously funding is always something that we're striving for. We have started different fundraising initiatives with in-house, such as trivia nights. So look for that in your local area. We also have a curling bonspiel that happens in January. And if there's any other funding opportunities, please let us know. We also look for advocacy. So that's another big thing. We look for support of our communities and so that we can assist youth and their families to be a valuable parts of their community. Volunteers, we can always use volunteers. So if you have a couple moments, we know some of these meetings, we do have counselors that are now coming to help us volunteer, especially at our after school program, and use of space. Always, we're looking for use of space. During the school year, we're able to meet at both schools. Both school boards have invited us in to use their space, but especially during the summertime, it's more difficult to reach families and youth in their communities. So that's it. Any questions?
Start off. Hi, Kim. How does the youth get into a program? How do they hear about you?
So there's a couple of different ways. I think I mentioned with intersections. Intersections typically would be referred by police or the NSERT. So if they attend a scene or a family, they can do that referral. But I had one today that just called up at the office and said, hey, this is what's going on. So they can reach us directly at the office. Definitely, we're a small agency, so that if somebody does have questions, pick up the phone and just give us a call. If you know of a family, and they need some help, you can also advocate. for them and just give us a call. And if we can't do it, we can probably connect them to the agency that they can do.
So we would just find you where, like, how would we pick up the phone and call you? That, because that's the.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we do have a website that you can
Okay.
get, if you Googled us, it's RJ Services. All our email addresses, our phone numbers, and,
Right down there at the bottom, rnj.com.
yeah, we do work with the schools a lot too, like the teachers and the principals. You know, we've been trying to, get them also to help make those referrals, as well.
The student support workers, like Monique over at the high school, she's amazing, reaching out, the Catholic board, and we've been kind of working with them also. So definitely, if there are concerns, or if you think this might be a great, like choices is great for grade 7 and 8s. We have all the curriculum hits. If you know of a grade 7, 8 teacher, we can come to their schools. We have been already vetted by the schools and have MOUs in place for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? When I was, I do have one question, and I did look it up, but how about giving us a little synopsis of how the name came about?
Oh, man.
Okay, so yeah, so it's Reverend Norm Johnson, so RMJ stands for Reverend Norm Johnson. And in 1987, he decided that youth needed, actually, they were gonna start a residential place actually, but then it didn't go any farther than that. So he wanted to support the youth in the community. It actually started in Smith Falls. So he started up helping support kids that get in trouble with the law and with the justice system. So it all started there. In 2015 is when our intersections program started. That's the one that we started like at age 8 to 18. So like they may have conflict with the law, like there's nothing chargeable, but the police are attending to them a lot. So yeah, so that's where it originally started, was in Smith Falls with Reverend Norm Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like a great program, and I love hearing that you're helping 116 different kids in Prescott. So anything we can do to help, we'll definitely, at least from the advocacy standpoint, and maybe with space in the future, you know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Are you not staying?
Good, thanks though.
All right. Item 5.1 is a delegation from Haley Jack with United Way of Leeds and Grenville. You got a new campaign, I see.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. My first campaign with the group on the board with terrible allergies, so I might be taking a sip of water, but yeah, campaign is coming. That's not the only reason why I'm here. So thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here sharing this with you. My name's Haley Jack. I'm the executive director of United Way Leeds and Grenville, and I'm very excited to announce a new phase for United Way Leeds and Grenville. We are evolving beyond the traditional fundraising model, which is still very much a fundraiser, but we're also focusing on meaningful and impactful change in our community. So it actually started years ago, and in 2023, we wrapped up our community conversations. This was an essential initiative that gathered a diverse perspective from communities and persons across Leeds and Grenville. These conversations have steered us towards creating lasting change in 6 key areas. Those being food security, homelessness, housing, mental health, addictions, and support for children and youth. Our network of agencies have tirelessly been addressing these issues in our community. And last year, United Way Leeds and Grenville facilitated over 100,000 interactions between clients and service providers in our community. Looking ahead, we plan to expand our network, engage more workplaces, attract major donors, and collaborate with stakeholders to drive significant and enduring progress. United Way Leeds and Grenville funds 16 agencies and numerous programs, reaching across Leeds and Grenville to impact all ages, all demographics, and all neighborhoods. We are immensely grateful for the vital work our agencies are doing and are honored that we get to collaborate with them. We are committed to offering immediate support through initiatives like our Urgent Needs Fund and 211, while also working towards long-term meaningful change by collaborating, communicating, and advocating for that progress and change. In addition to our broader goals, we're offering immediate support through programs like our Urgent Needs Fund. This fund provides financial assistance to residents across Leeds and Grenville who face a time-sensitive need and can now access other community supports. For instance, in the middle of the winter, your furnace breaks and you have no heat. Your home is no longer safe and it could put you at risk of homelessness. You can apply to this fund to help repair the furnace. Or if your vehicle breaks down and you need that vehicle to get to work, you can apply to that fund for us to help you repair your vehicle so you can stay employed and stay in your home. We're partnering with the Volunteer Center to be able to allocate these dollars, and you can call them at 613-499-9393. We also support and truly believe in 211. That's a national phone resource available across Canada. This is a resource that if you have questions about social supports in your community, you can call, text, or you can visit their website to get these answers. They can also refer you to other service providers that might be available in your area you are not aware of and that might help you with your situation. They're helping connect you with your community and it's completely free. In summary, United Way Leeds and Grenville is a key community partner for individuals, workplaces, policymakers, charities, and the Leeds and Grenville region as a whole. We're committed to being flexible, responsive, addressing the evolving needs of our community with adaptability and dedication. Thank you for the support and belief in our mission and vision to improve lives and build community by engaging individuals and mobilizing collective action to create vibrant and caring communities. Next question.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Haley Jack?
I just didn't catch the name of the program, the granting program.
So that's called our Urgent Needs Fund. So that's something that United Way is doing on top of what our agencies are doing, such as R&J, and they are fabulous. I got to interview them in the summer and see their program in action, and I was blown away. They're amazing.
Councilor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar, how many local groups are you supporting in Prescott or that are connected with United Way? Do you have a number on that?
I do. So 12 of the 16 agencies that we funded in this year are supporting Prescott. So have active persons working in your community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Great. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. I'm scooting up too. Enjoy your meeting.
Thanks.
Thank.
All right. Item 6 is minutes of previous council meetings. So we have 2 of them. We'll do one at a time. The first one is approval of the council minutes, and the motion reads that council minutes dated July 15th, 2024 be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councilor Kirkby?
Sure.
Councilor Campbell? Discussion? Councilor Campbell?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Shankar. There was just 11 outside committees. It was written that I had thanked the operations department for the beautifying of Jonathan Noonan's bench at Centennial Park. So it wasn't the installation of the bench. It was more of the flowers and everything around the bench. They put the bench in a couple of years ago. So I just really wanted to thank them again for the beautiful array of perennials because they come up every year and they look fantastic. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. 6.2 is approval of the special council minutes. The motion reads that the special council minutes dated July 29th, 2024 be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Lockett, Deputy Mayor Young, any questions on that one? We're good. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item 7 is communications and petitions. 7.1, there's an item under communications petitions this evening. Item 7.1 is Municipal Policing Bureau, the OPPA collective agreement ratifications. Is there any discussion on that? That was for information only. Much? Yeah, okay, so we're good. We're going to move on then. Item 8.1 is consent reports. We have the information package. Is there anything anyone would like to see pulled out of that information package? Start over here, Councillor Kirkby.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Shanker. I'd like to see the AMO, support AMO request, to remove the cap system on, the for-profit childcare. So I'd like to see that one removed.
Taken out, you mean?
Yeah, taken out, sorry.
Yeah.
And same with the County of Frontenac resolution, request for provincial government to recognize the physician shortage.
Okay. Was there one from a previous meeting that you wanted? That's it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right. So, by taking that out, so as amended, the recommended motion would be, all items listed under the consent report section of the agenda, except for the ones that we just took out, be accepted as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor McConnell, Councillor Campbell, all in favor? Carried, thank you. 9 is committee reports or meal committee reports. 10 is the mayor reports. So a few things since our last meeting. We had the end of Shakespeare Saturday night. I went to both shows. It was very good. Well attended. Even in the rain, there was probably 80 there that one night. Councillor Lockett and I were there, and I saw Councillor McConnell. A couple weeks ago, the Sunday night concert series. Eddie and the Stingrays were there, and they're always a very popular group. I think there was close to 600 for that one. They have 2 more weekends left, so keep that in mind, people, that the 25th is the last Sunday night concert series. We just had a big wellness fair this weekend at the pop-ups, and that was very well attended. There must have been 25 vendors. Yeah, and they had great weather, thank goodness, for a Saturday, so that was very good. Couple of anniversaries in town. It's already been a year for the Wing House. I remember waiting forever to be able to eat inside, and now it's been a year already, so that's great. Congrats to them. I did take a little peek at Cuts and Curls. Very nice shop they've done there. Just over the overpass from the railway ties there. So it's very, very nice in there. They're going to have a grand opening soon. In next weekend is Folk Fest. Keep that in mind for everybody. That's August 24th. And Garlic Festival is that same weekend. So who doesn't like garlic? That's good. And lastly, I went to the Maynard Recreation Center. They had an open house on Sunday. And with their pickleball courts and ball hockey courts, it's very, very, very well done. Congrats to them. It was a really nice addition to this area. And it takes a bit of the onus off us, right? That we're not always the ones providing recreation. There's little talks about getting a dome. I probably shouldn't say that publicly, but I'm going to. Put more pressure on them. So that's all good. That's it for me. I'll go around the room. We'll start right here. Councillor Lockett.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, there's been lots of things. We've been down to the pop-ups, the wellness, the Wing House, the same thing. We also did the civic holiday. We talked about that. The boards, the committees that I'm on, take a break over the summer. So there is a report here from the health unit. They've been very busy on their committee for this amalgamation. And I really enjoyed the special meeting that we had on the 29th, acknowledging the citizens and the volunteers, and it was really good.
Thank you. Councilor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me, a little hoarse tonight. Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I was, by the way, at Shakespeare on that one evening. Ruth said she saw me walking by, and you can testify. I was actually volunteering that evening. I was in charge of the washroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even say that part. I just.
Well, somebody has to do it, and that's where I get put. So, yes, it was a good job.
Could have been handing out umbrellas.
Well, I was undercover there. So anyway, I have enjoyed both Shakespeare shows. They wound up, as I think Shankar said, on Saturday. I don't think I've ever seen as large a crowd for Shakespeare as there was there Saturday night. There was several hundred people, I would say, and it was an excellent show. Their third show that they're putting on this year is, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but
Play on.
Play On, that's it, yeah. It's musical, all having to do with Shakespeare or Shakespeare inspired, but it's modern music, not something from the 1700s. And it's on all this week, and I'm looking forward to attending that. I'd like to thank our staff of Public Works Department. I did quite a bit of work back in the cemetery at the end of the month in advance of their brush pickup. We had a large limb that had been tagged for removal up there that fell. Fortunately, it didn't do any damage to any stones or didn't do any damage to any people but Public Works crew went back. They were able to cut it into sections, and then they come up the next day and got rid of it all. And in the meantime, I did quite a bit of trimming, and they get rid of all that as well. So my appreciation to them, it was kind of an above and beyond call, the amount of work that they did this month for us back there. A couple of things, if I may, that people have talked to me about since we last met. Chair shortage in Centennial Park along the front. There actually are no chairs along the front in Centennial Park. There's a bench that faces east, and there's nothing between there and the boat ramp. Now, I noticed when I was down the street this afternoon that the chairs that had been on Edward Street, the section that was closed, that was opened up again. I don't know where those have gone, but they could really be used at Centennial Park, because I've noticed the few that we have down there, people are moving them from one spot to the other. And that's kind of a recipe for damage, I think. So if we could move some of those down there, people would appreciate it. On the garbage in Centennial Park, and garbage along the front of Riverwalk Park, on the weekends, I don't know what the priority or what the protocol is there, but it is not being picked up enough. Some of those cans are overflowing. People are stacking it on the ground, and then of course the seagulls get into it, and it's a total mess. So I noticed other years, the people that were looking after the marina empty the garbage cans. If I may, Matthew, is that still the protocol this year in the marina area?
I'd have to check on it.
Okay, so you don't know off the top of your head. No. And the other thing I noticed was that around the pool, from the pool east, the garbage cans were emptied. And I'm wondering if that's part of the deal with the pool staff, because from the pool west, that's where the problem occurred. That's where the overflow was. So I don't know what we can do there. But especially on the weekends, like when you have a holiday weekend and already on Saturday afternoon, your garbage cans are overflowing, we need to address it. The other thing, and this, you commented on Eddie and the Stingrays, that was a big crowd. Well, it's always a big crowd for Eddie and the Stingrays. But one of the volunteers there mentioned to me the lack, well, not the lack, but the inadequacy of the bathroom facilities for a crowd that size, which is true. And I pointed out that we did have the porta potties down at the far end of the pop-up section. And they indicated with the age of some of the people, that was a long way to go. And I was wondering if next year we could move the porta potties up behind the actual marina building. There's a large area back there. It's largely untraveled. People tend to go in front. If we move those porta potties up there, that would give a lot more access for the people that are attending Shakespeare and attending our Saturday night concerts. And we might not even have to bother actually opening the marina building for Shakespeare or those. So I just throw that out there as a suggestion. And then one other question that I had was other years, we had the Y doing a camp and they did it at Centennial Park. And I haven't noticed that as I've walked through this year. Is there any playground type of thing we have at the Y this year, or are we just not in that business this year at all?
Well, that would be up to the Y. They were running it independently, so I'm not sure.
Thank you.
I can add to that.
Okay.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. There was a church group that ran a program for 4 weeks.
I did see them.
Okay, so that's all I saw there.
I only saw them one day, but
Councillor Kirkley?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. The town has been running beach days down at Centennial Park. The recreation program has had several days there where they've opened up, brought activities down to the beach for kids to participate in that were down there. It's been advertised on social media, Facebook, Instagram. So there.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Mayor Young?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Councillor Lockett and I attended the RSL AGM on July 31st. And it was good. It was nice to know that the CEO, Simon, is continuously upgrading. He's taking more and more courses, so that's always good to know they're staying current. They discussed the enhanced portal efficiencies. They also said that they're updating their shareholder agreement. And they talked about challenges such as equipment costs, staffing, and inflation, but overall they had another period of growth, so that was good to hear. King Street Promenade on Civic Weekend on the Saturday. The BIA board, they generously donated to it as well, but I just wanted to let people know that there's volunteers on the board that go above and beyond. We have a special events committee and they generously donate their time and brainstorm with Dana and Justin, and then Dana and Justin put it all together for us. And so that Charity and Jeannie, I just wanted to give a shout out to those local entrepreneurs that, you know, they're busy running their own business, but they also give back. So just wanted to give them a shout out. The summer passport program is still going on. There's about 3 weeks left. So the grand prize is 500 Prescott dollars. So you can drop off your passport to the museum or to the Pink Shed down at the pop-ups. La Boutique Thrift, one of our CIP recipients, just put up their new signage today. It looks really good. Yep. What else? Oh, Amazing Photography opened up their spot on Civic Holiday Weekend. Looks really nice. So I'm sure they'll have a grand opening, but it looks great. And the community art, I just wanted to show everybody. So the community art project that we have, I'm not sure if you can see it, but we've got like 4 different portraits. And what you do is you go and you pick up a tile, and the tile corresponds with one of the squares on the portrait. And then you can sit down and paint it. It's very relaxing to do. I've done it. We set up on Civic Saturday in front of the museum, and a lot of people participated and they did a really great job. So it was nice to see. And you can go down to Chantal's, right, Dana? The creation shed, pop-ups to participate. And that's everything for me.
Thank you. I actually did one of those. I'm sure they're gonna throw it out, but I did do it, and it's kind of fun, you know. I remember when we did the picture mural on Center Street. The amount of people that went to see their picture on there.
Still do.
And still do, it was remarkable. So that was Chuck Street, I think, did that. So this, I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor Schenker. I attended the fire administration meeting on August 6th. I'll just go through. There's a lot of stuff. They have one new applicant for volunteer firefighter. He'll be going through the process of applying and getting certified, et cetera. The firefighters did JAWS training last month, very successful training. On September 3rd, upcoming, Enbridge Natural Gas rep is coming to their meeting to talk, just a 1-hour training session to talk about emergency response, pipelines and housing. So that will be happening. We're going to be doing cold water rescue in February, March, and April of 2025, I guess, when the water's cold. All the younger firefighters that we have will need to be retrained on that. The fire department attended the July 4th Morristown, USA annual parade. We do that reciprocally, so that's good. July 9th, MTJB visited the fire department, saw all the big trucks and exciting. July 19th, we had fire extinguisher training at Prescott. What date is it today? Yes, August 14th, coming up. There's going to be a full evacuation session at Wellington House. It's an annual session they go through to remove all the people safely in the case of a fire. August 24th, the Mayfield is having a family fun day, and they've requested a fire truck, and the fire department will respond to them in that manner. September 10th coming up, there's going to be a mutual aid meeting in Merrickville with the chief and one other firefighter to attend. And August 12th, chief is attending a council meeting. Here you are.
Here I am.
The other thing I had, I don't know if you got this email. It's from Jumpstart. Did any of you see that? Okay. So Jumpstart is the program through Canadian Tire, and they help kids financially with either equipment or getting into programs and stuff. Anyway, they're having their 20th anniversary next year, 2025. And they're looking for Jumpstart alumni. So kids who have grown up, had entered the program, been successful to use it, to do amazing things. It might have helped them pursue higher academics or to compete for our country. So throughout that year, they're going to celebrate the amazing work Jumpstart did with all these alumni. So they're asking, know anyone who is an alumni? So if you can ask for their consent to share their name and contact information with Jumpstart, and then tell Jumpstart who they are. So should I be reading out the email that they can?
We can just share that on social media.
Okay, all right, so that's pretty cool. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Kirk.
Through you, Mayor Shankar. I've been out of town quite a bit, but I've been in town. When you're out of town so much, you kind of like to come back to town. So one of the big highlights for me between our last council and here was soccer wrap-up at South Grenville District High School. So we had 426 participants play soccer in Prescott this year, which on that Saturday brought in parents and grandparents. We were kind of up around we figured we were up around the 800 people that attended. The town is a big sponsor of PDSA. Every kid went home with a medal, a chip and a drink and a piece of pizza, all that bought locally. So a successful season overall. We already have emails out for next year, so it's a good program. It's a big one to run in Prescott, and we're happy to be here in Prescott and work with the town on that. The other big one for me is August 3rd, the civic holiday. I got home the night before from Quebec, and that morning I came downtown, and then I had to leave to go to the States, and it was great. It honestly felt like the 90s again. The sidewalk, the streets were closed down. There was a sidewalk sale. The fire department was there. The town crew was there with the street sweeper, the articulating one, which all the kids want to get in that. I know as a kid I wanted to. I did go to Amazing Eyes, I believe, or yeah, photography. If you haven't been there, it is something to see. The pictures are just wow, like right out there. But it was just great to see all the businesses participating. A lot of people out, the inflatables, like that was great to see the inflatables there with all the kids on it. Like the feedback lately as a counselor is nothing but positive. So, and I talked to the unofficial mayor of Centennial Park, which is John McCauley.
Oh, yes.
Right? And
Absolutely.
so I asked John about the chairs and stuff like that. It's funny that you brought it up, Councillor McConnell. And John said that he was under the impression everybody just brings their own nowadays. Now, we did talk about that because I know it was an issue last year. The garbage, he said, one thing he said is, unfortunately, people bring so much to the beach that nobody takes it home. Do you know what I mean? Nobody packs anything up to take home, which, I mean, I don't know how to get around that. What I did know, I did do a stop a couple times around the beach is we are getting a lot more traffic from out of town down there, which is something for a later discussion. The town looks great. The events this summer look great. You drive downtown on pretty much any night and it's hard to get a parking spot. This Saturday, we went to the Prescott Legion to watch hometown karaoke king, Jason Saunders. It was a great event. Again, I think they sell a lot of beer that day down there. The one thing I noticed was the thermometer, the fundraising thermometer in the lounge there is a goal of 100,000 and they're roughly around 45,000.
52 right now.
Okay, so must have just got updated, but it's great, right, to see that visual. And I mean, what a great cause, right? Any Legion across Canada is a good place to support. And then we went down to the Wing House after and had supper there. And honestly, we stood at the door for a couple minutes because all the tables were full. So, when we look across the road, Chuck's was busy on our way walking from the Legion down there. Renegades had a good crowd. The Kevin Rivette was down there. Later on, we drove by O'Hafey's and it was busy. So lots of good things about Prescott. And honestly, it's pretty easy to be a counselor. Currently at times in Prescott, you get some choice feedback, but most of it's positive lately. So hats off to staff and council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Kirkley. Very good. Well done. Okay, thanks, everyone. We're gonna get into the meat of the meeting now. We have 4 staff reports. We're gonna start with the chief. Fire Department Q1 and Q2 report from our Fire Chief, Rennie Rayner, and it's for information only, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Worship. I know you have the document in front of you, so I won't read it all over. But I just wanted to outline a few things. 5 of our firefighters completed the NFPA Firefighter 2 training. So that is coming along nicely, and we'll have to continue training, setting those schedules up. We've been working with our neighbors in Augusta to be able to do the training in-house, either at our fire station or in Augusta. And it works out very well for our membership and theirs, because the farthest away you are is by their municipality. So that's nice. People can get home in the evenings, because those training are completed on Friday evenings and then on weekends. So it takes a lot of time. Again, our training continues with our in-house training. I've got an update from our manufacturer of our new truck, hopefully in November. So that's coming along nicely. And I just wanted to say our committees still are our equipment, our supply and truck maintenance continue. Actually, tonight would be our truck night. And I wanted to say that our aerial, our annual testing on that, our ladder testing, our SCBA testing, all of that has been completed and everything has passed. So I know the association aim to thank council and staff for the great work and collaborative work together on the games. But I really wanted to thank everyone in the room and the other staff members that aren't here tonight. It was just amazing to be a part of it. The trolley that Dana had arrived and the companion evening was a hit. And I know other businesses in town were pleased to see people from out of town. I wanted to also thank the museum. You know, there's a Prescott Fire Department display right out in front. So that was very nice too, for people walking and just having a look to see more about the department and to be able to have the games. And it was funny, over the weekend, we had several other departments saying Prescott knocked it out of the park and they'd love to host again. But, you know, they said every year, but it's a lot of work. And we're also hosting the Eastern Ontario Firefighter Golf Tournament that will be conducted on September 21st, I think it is. And the proceeds go to Camp Bucko, which is the camps for burned children. So that's something that we always participate in that. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Just quickly for some of our membership, for April, we had Peter Valcamp of 10 years. May was John Husted, 29 years, as well as Bob Dixon in June, 30 years. So we've got some veterans making some amazing milestones. And then just the stats for the months from January to June, you can see them there. Just quickly, you'll see the average is around 250 to 300 for total hours each month. But in June, as you'll see, there's 584, a lot of time spent getting ready for games. So that's a lot of work because we had different members in different committees setting things up, training, working with staff for the Leo. It was just a lot of work. So that's why that number spikes. And I didn't know if anyone had any questions, but I'd be more than happy to answer it.
Any questions? I really like, Chief, how you're participating in a lot of different events and at different events. And it's really, you know, a nice part of the community when you see all the guys and gals that are coming to everything. So it's really good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I know the membership likes to obviously support the events, but it's reciprocal, because whenever I come to council to ask for anything or for other staff, if we need something, it's always there for us. So the least we can do is reciprocate that. And just quickly, I was surprised that I had some MTO rates and some. When we had, the last time I spoke, it was about MVAs out on the 401, 416. So we had 5 MTO calls that amounted to about $3,800. So we get paid an hourly rate to be able on the 401. So that helps us out a little bit. But as I've always said, when we get stood down, or if we're not required, we get off the 401s. ASAP. Get back into town for one thing, for where we're serving the public, but also just because it's quite dangerous out there.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you
Chief.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item 12.2 is staff report 60-2024. The fire hall and marina pop-up area from our CAO treasurer, Matthew Armstrong. The recommendation reads that council directs staff to proceed with the installation of the recommended CCTV security solutions for the fire hall and marina pop-up area as outlined in this report in the amount of $47,638.26 plus applicable taxes. Can I have a mover and seconder just for discussion? Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Lockett, Mr. Armstrong?
Thank you very much. So following the installation of the CCTV cameras throughout the town at the 9 different spots, we did have Max Tech, which was a successful bidder, come and take a look at the fire hall as well as the marina pop-up area. The marina pop-up area, or the marina in particular, has a very antiquated system, doesn't provide particularly good quality video, and it's no longer supported. So they did make several recommendations in the fire hall. There is some activity behind the fire hall that people doesn't need to be back there. So wanted to make sure that that building is secure, obviously, because it holds the most expensive equipment that we have. So the recommendation is to use the same types of cameras, manufacturer called Prescott. And for the fire hall, it's an installation of 5 different cameras, 2 that have single lens, 1 that has 4 lenses, and then 2 that are fisheye. Fisheye cameras are able to sit on a corner and be able to see 270 degrees field of vision. So that's at a total cost of approximately $19,000. The second area that we have to take a look at was the marina pop-up area. And what they made suggestions there is installing a total of 9 cameras, I believe, 3 that are single lens, 1 fisheye, 2, and that's on the marina building itself. That way it captures both the fuel dock, which is obviously an area that accidents can happen. It's a fairly high risk area, as well as being able to see east and west. And then behind the building is where the actual fuel tanks are. On the east end of the, I should just say west end, is 2 single lens cameras, 1 facing east, 1 facing west, and then a total of 3 cameras in the pop-up area, east, west, and then a fisheye as well. That comes to a total of, I believe, 28 or 29,000. So grand total for the installation would be 47,000, as mentioned. We did recently receive a little over $39,000 for the sale of ED19 to Edwardsburg Cardinal. The Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal purchased ED19 in United Counties. The town of Prescott was an original partner back in 1997 of that particular lot, and we received a proportional share of the total proceeds of that. So if that was to be used to support the CCTV solutions at the fire hall and the marina pop-up area, that would leave approximately $8,500 to come from the fiscal policy reserve.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Questions for Mr. Armstrong? Councillor Lockett?
For you, Mayor Shankar. Matthew, if this went ahead, when would it be installed?
We would be looking for install either in late August or early September.
So the next, okay. Thank you.
Councillor Campbell?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. I was just musing about this because to me it seems like a lot of money, and I just wanted to know what has been accomplished with the cameras thus far. Have they?
Yeah, so we've been asked to provide footage to 8 different events. And then once we provide the footage, we aren't involved any further. But certainly, I think it's certainly aided in the ability to identify those that are in the area, as well as what has occurred in several situations.
Okay, and what is the criminal intent that we're trying to protect? Is it stealing or traffic violations or pedestrian safety or?
So in terms of the fire hall and marina, sometimes there is vandalism down by the marina. In particular throughout the gardens, things like that, as well as there has been stuff stolen off of boats. So wanting to make sure that we can figure out exactly who was in the area so that the police are then able to follow up to determine exactly what happened and perhaps recover the items. In the pop-up area, there has been some mischief that has occurred. And obviously, there's a fair amount of stock down there in each of the buildings and whatnot. So we want to make sure that those are safeguarded. For the fire hall, it's security and safety of the building. And again, that's the building that contains the most expensive vehicles and equipment that we have.
So are they ever be able to be moved? Like the marina and the pop-ups is really half a season, right? It's 6 months at max.
To move them to different places would not be financially viable.
All right, and then I was looking at their locations currently and I thought perhaps we could remove the certain ones, King at Russell, Henry at George, and Churchill at Boundary.
So this report isn't going back and discussing previous installations. Those
No.
were all approved previously and are all installed.
Okay, so I just thought in order to save some money, I didn't feel those locations were that critical.
Those are the ones that were identified by the police, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shanker. Matthew, just for my own curiosity, when we install these cameras, and is there any kind of insurance break or anything like that for adding these kind of cameras? Just out of curiosity?
No.
No, okay. This is totally separate, so I apologize. I would love to have a live feed camera that people could log in to see the river. Some of the different communities have that, but that would be outside of this. So the one on the fire hall though, so Edward and Henry, do we have a camera there currently? With the one on the corner, and I believe it's a bird's eye view, the 270, would that capture that intersection also, or would it be directed just into the parking lot?
It's more just to capture what's going on around the building. As soon as further you get away, the less detail you're going to be able to identify.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Armstrong? Matthew, if you don't mind, could you just explain, just for the public, really our involvement with the ED19 and how we got $40,000?
Certainly. So back in 1997, I believe the city of Brockville, the town of Prescott, and the United Counties of Leeds and Greville went together and purchased a piece of property in Edwardsburg Cardinal with the intention of making it into a waste management site. That I believe the work was done to obtain environmental approval, those types of things. However, it sat dormant for a number of years. More recently, it was revived through the United Counties had somebody that was interested in it, that because of the age of the environmental approval, that was it had expired, and then the interest went away in that particular property. So it's just been held by the United Counties for a number of years, and obviously we're a original participant in that. And then Edwardsburg Cardinal came forward, the lot was sold, and then we received a proportionate share based on assessment.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm not sure everyone would be aware of all that, so that's good. Thanks to Councillor Kirkby for bringing that up, actually.
I had to do some research. There's very little on there.
Yeah, I didn't know. Okay, any other questions? All right, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Item 12.3 is staff report 61-2024, a financial report from our CEO treasurer, Matthew Armstrong. As for information only, Matthew, would you like to speak to the report?
Thank you very much. So this is the report after the first 6 months ended June 30th. Not a huge number of differences from my last report. The one thing that I did want to note was that throughout the winter and spring, there was quite a bit of costs in relation to vehicle and equipment maintenance and repairs. So, and that's mostly around our operational parks and rec equipment. So we are taking a really good look at that in preparation of the 2025 project budget, and seeing if there's some piece of equipment that are perhaps would benefit from retirement and for replacement, and therefore decreasing the overall cost for repairs and maintenance. So, I think we have one of our snowplow trucks is starting to get up there. And that's obviously a concern as it's getting towards the end of its life. And so, but we're taking a look across all of that equipment to see if there's something that we should be considering if it hasn't reached its end of useful life or is prematurely getting there. So just wanted to kind of point that out. We don't foresee that it's going to be an effect on year end. There's other places where we're able to save and have underspending. But certainly just wanted to highlight that as we're kind of going through and doing our due diligence when it comes to equipment replacement.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Armstrong on the financial report? Thank you, sir. We're going to move on to our last staff report. 62-2024, the Prescott BIA Associate Membership Program from our Economic Development Officer, Dana Valentine. The recommendation reads that Council approve of Prescott BIA's adoption of an associate membership program to allow for the recruitment of like businesses located outside the geographic boundaries of the BIA area. Can I have a mover and seconder for our discussion? Deputy Mayor Young, Councillor Campbell. Dana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to Council. We have, the BIA has been discussing opportunities to expand its membership area. Everything from actually increasing the geography of the BIA levy area to exploring associate memberships, which is another option that a number of BIAs have explored. Happy to provide Council with insight into some of the other BIAs that have introduced this. Kempville would certainly be probably the closest example that I could refer you to. And this is really an opportunity for the BIA to further their interests and expand on the Riverwalk District as a destination business area. As you're probably familiar, the BIA area itself does not encompass the entire downtown. That would include all commercial properties that currently exist in the downtown, nor does it go any further north than at Henry Street. So we're in a bit of a situation where there are some businesses that would naturally fit within that definition of a BIA area business that are kind of just outside those boundaries. So the associate membership program is being explored by the BIA to provide those businesses with an opportunity to participate in the BIA, get some of those benefits, but not all benefits. For example, one of those key differentiators is associate member businesses would not be eligible to vote. They would be eligible to sit on subcommittees and contribute to the BIA through volunteer opportunities and participate in a number of BIA events and marketing promotions. But the voting option would not be offered to those businesses. So again, just trying to create that delineation between those areas, as well as encourage businesses to maybe consider the BIA area at some point. We want to ensure that there is always a broader benefit to being located within that geographic area. So the BIA has recently approved and is seeking Council's endorsement of this introduction of an associate membership program. And I've included the background information that provides a very detailed description as to what would be included with that, who would be eligible to participate, as well as the draft flyer that we would distribute to all potential businesses. If I could provide you with an example of a business that we would like to recruit from a BIA perspective would be Curls and Cuts. They have just recently relocated their business to 695 Edward Street outside of the downtown core, making them no longer eligible to sit on the BIA. Whereas that associate membership program would be a great opportunity for that business to continue to participate and contribute on a volunteer basis to the various subcommittees that Tracy was alluding to earlier tonight. So that's the recommendation before you. The proposed fee for the associate membership is $125 annually. Very similar fee structure to other BIAs that have adopted this program. And just in contrast, as a comparison, the average fee for an existing BIA member is $350 a year. Just to give you a little bit of perspective. And from, a financial implication, this would certainly generate some additional revenues to the BIA. At the same time, we are not anticipating a plethora of businesses coming on. I think at this time, the BIA is looking at maybe, identified 3 or 4 businesses that would be a natural fit. And then if successful at that, maybe a few years out, at that point, the BIA might explore a potential expansion of the actual geographic boundary. But thought this was a good opportunity to introduce that and give new businesses an opportunity to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. Questions for Ms. Valentine? Councilor Kirkby?
Not a question. Sorry, just a statement. I think it's forward thinking. I think it's something that Councillor Lockett and I discussed a long time ago, and I think it's just great to see the BIA evolving into including more businesses, not just downtown. So kudos to everybody. Thank you.
Yep, definitely. Anyone else? Councilor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. This would be purely voluntary on the part of the business.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No? Yeah, that was one of my questions, and you did hit on it. How many new members you think you'd get out of it? Even if it's only 3 or 4 this year and you get 1 or 2 every year, it opens up like you said, the border, right? And if you get enough, maybe we can change the border. That's been a thorn in the side for a long time, right? But the BIA has its own sets of rules and regulations that we don't know. So that's good. I think it's a good step in the right direction, as Councillor Kirkby and Councillor Lockett said. So very good. Good job. So I'm going to call the question. I'm just going to read it one more time. That council approved the Prescott BIA's adoption of an associate membership program to allow for the recruitment of like businesses located outside the geographic boundaries of the BIA area. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, no resolutions tonight. There are 2 bylaws for approval this evening. First one is that bylaw 34-2024, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 05-2021, a bylaw to provide for the licensing and registering of animals and prohibiting their running at large, regulating kennels, and to regulate the keeping of animals in the town of Prescott, be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of appropriation. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Or any discussion?
Yeah, discussion.
Discussion? Okay. Councillor Campbell?
I'm not sure who to ask of this. So I went through the amendments, and so my difficulty was I wasn't able to go back to the original document. These are amendments to an original bylaw. So under 7, impoundment and recovery of animals, it says under C, any animal seized, delivered to the town impound provider, to the animal's owner if proffered, licensed or euthanized. So which officer, and there's a word officer in this document, which I couldn't find a definition for anywhere. Which officer makes that decision? And I don't know who I'm asking.
Yep. So it would be the bylaw enforcement officer.
So he would make that, just he or she would make that decision on their own?
No, it would be in consultation with the manager of building and bylaw as well as myself.
Okay, so it wouldn't come to council?
No.
Okay. Could the definition of officer be included in these?
I believe
Visions.
it is included in the original.
Is there? Oh. I didn't.
Bylaws on the town.
Yeah, so the animal control officer is defined in the bylaw itself.
Okay. So under F, the officer may require an order the disposal of any animal that is seized. Through what mechanism is what I was asking. What does an order mean?
So that would be if they wrote an order that it be euthanized.
Those people that you mentioned, those officers?
Correct.
Okay. And does it ever go to the OPP for investigative services? Let's say someone said that dog bit me. Is there any kind of investigation as to
So
sides of the
certainly
story?
we get POPP involved. We do plans a complimentary investigation. And before we would ever consider euthanizing, then obviously there'd have to be proof for that. But ultimately, the OPP will not make a determination on whether to euthanize or not.
Okay. And then under H, if an owner fails to claim an animal in 14 days, it's been picked up, whether it's aggressive or not. It is adopted, it tries to get adopted, or it could be euthanized. Is this the same for aggressive animals? Do they have 14 days if they're holding an aggressive animal?
No, so this would be if no one has come to claim the animal, we'd hold it for 14 days. In that 14 days, there would be determination whether to be euthanized or not. If that's made, the decision is made, then we would move forward with it. But if we have an animal that was running at large, we've held it for 14 days, no one's come to claim it, then we make an attempt to have it adopted out for another 14 days. And then at that point, we're at 4 weeks, and then make a decision on what to do with it.
Okay, so there's no difference between holding an aggressive animal and just one that's been picked up. It's the same procedure.
So no, if we've picked up an aggressive animal and taken possession of it, in that case, if it wasn't found, we've actually taken possession out of the individuals that 14 days isn't applying. This is only if we've come across an animal and no one's making claim to it.
Okay, so I will leave this to you guys with the writing of it, but perhaps you'd have to say something different for aggressive animals for that 14-day thing in the bylaw. I don't know. Unless I'm not understanding it right.
Yeah, so the aggressive part is dealt with in 6. We're just talking about animals that have been impounded,
Okay.
not related to aggressive.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. Am I given to understand that we are going to keep a dog for possibly 28 days in that cage downstairs in the hallway?
No, we have a provider out in Kempville that takes dogs and has town service for that and boarding service.
Thank God. And just for discussion here, I happened to be coming down the stairs one day after this was first introduced by Sean. And he hollered at me and we had a discussion on this and I asked him what I believe asked a little while ago about euthanization or euthanizing. Who makes the decision that the dog is going down? And he told me it was Lindsay. That's Ed. He was making the decision. So there seems to be some discretion or discretion.
I think it shows you that we don't euthanize dogs very often, only in extreme cases.
Well, I don't think we're doing it all right now, but for purposes of this, I said, who it makes the determination? Is it so-and-so? Is it so-and-so? No, he said Lindsay would be making the decision. Which you obviously were unaware of.
Hasn't had to make that decision yet, eh?
Just saying, that's what I was told by the drafter of this bylaw. From the horse's mouth.
Okay, anyone else? Councillor Kirkby?
Through you, Mayor Shankar. I think the bylaw here has definitely beefed up some of the things. I just wanted to get clarification. Matthew, on 6 on aggressive animal, are we authorizing euthanization for a dog that has bitten somebody in the town, whether or not it's licensed or not licensed?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel personally, any dog that attacks another person off somebody's property, that's, whether it's leashed or not, should be euthanized from the town. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna reread the recommendation that bylaw 34-2024 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 05-2021. A bylaw to provide for the licensing and registering of animals and prohibiting their running at large, for regulating kennels and to regulate the keeping of animals in the town of Prescott. We have a mover and seconder. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The last recommendation is that bylaw 35-2024 being a bylaw requiring owners of buildings or any class or class of building in the town of Prescott to connect the said building to the sewage works of the town and for prohibiting, regulating, and inspecting the discharge of any gases or solid matter into the land drainage works, private branch drains, and connections to any sewer system or sewer works for the carrying away of domestic sewage or industrial waste or both, whether connected to a treatment works or not, be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Now mover and seconder, please. Councillor McConnell, Councillor Rocket. Any discussion on this bylaw? Councillor McConnell?
Thank you, Mayor Shankar. I was a little confused when I read the recommendation here because if I can just read it again, it says that bylaw 35-2024 being a bylaw requiring owners of buildings or any class or classes of building in the town of Prescott to connect the said buildings to the sewage work of the town. But I didn't read anything in the bylaw in regards to connecting, unless I missed it, buildings to the sewage of the town. Because essentially, there are buildings we can't connect to the sewage of the town because there's no connection there. Our North Industrial Park, the Sealy House on the corner of Edward, and our own Public Works facility. It's on a sewage bed. So that part of it left me a little confused because when I read actually through the bylaw, it was what I was expecting of the bylaw. And that's in regards to discharging of stuff into the system. So is this recommendation just poorly worded, or did I miss part of the intent of the bylaw? And if I did, where is it?
Mr. Armstrong? Do what you can.
So I think it's regulating anyone that's attached to the sewage works. So if you're attaching to a sanitary sewer, then this is the rules that you'd have to follow.
Well, man, that may be what you think, but that's not what it says. But the recommendation is not actually part of the bylaw, and the bylaw, I don't see anything in here about connecting, the connection. So I don't have a problem with the bylaw. I'm just curious why the recommendation reads that way. And if I may, there was one other question that I did have, and this has come up before. I don't know if we really had any satisfaction on it, but the Canadian Tire has essentially a dumping station out there for trailers and motorhomes. And that, we've discussed this before, and I don't know if we ever come up with, and maybe not in this council, but in previous councils, and I don't really know if we ever come up with an adequate explanation or something that allows them to do it, or we were going to look into it and say they couldn't do it, or I don't know. I read through this whole thing, and it does address sewage that is not coming from our own people. But in some kind of a special situation, I know there are permits that people have to have here, and it lists several of these permits. Is this something that Canadian Tire has now or would have to have under this bylaw?
So I don't think there's anything that prohibits them from their current setup. Certainly, I think that's what we're struggling with when answering that particular question. And if it meets the guidelines, then without there's any other bylaw precluding it, then there's nothing that would not allow us to have that happen. I do believe Councillor Burton mentioned that they're no longer doing that though.
Oh, okay. So is that?
I saw one hooked up not very long ago.
Okay.
No, I don't know when she said they weren't doing it anymore. If it was last week, I saw it before that, but yeah, there was somebody in a trailer getting pumped out not long ago.
Councillor
Through you, Mayor Shankar, I was actually going to bring it up. I brought it up last year also in this discussion, is where they would fall under, right? And how do we know what's in that tank? So let me ask you this. If that trailer was being used for something else, it's in the tank, and they disposed of it at Canadian Tire, would we have any traceability on that?
Really? So depending on what is being put into the system, then when they're doing the testing at the wastewater treatment plant, you can come up at that point. Then what we would do is work backwards through the system and where the traces came, exactly where it was coming from. But no, there's no automatic.
Right.
I hate to say this though, but I think Canadian Tire would be responsible.
Well, I would think so,
Yeah.
but I think, to me, when I read through all these things here, I was trying to find a place that Canadian Tire would fit in here. And I really didn't. And then it seems like to me, right, when I read this, and nothing against Canadian Tire, by the way, but I just feel like they're getting a free service or from the town and profiting from it. And I don't know if it was ever set up that way. That's my only concern. And it could be for any future facility that comes to town, i.e. another truck stop or something like that, that wanted to offer something like that. should we have it captured or have some kind of fee associated with it?
Or they have a tank, they have a holding tank or something. And they,
I don't know if they do. Or if it goes directly into sanitary.
I mean, I think this bylaw talks about all, unregulated stuff, if you read it all,
Yeah, all right.
that's in there, right?
I went through it.
Sewage, you know, hate to say it.
If I may, I think I cleared this up.
Sure.
Under definitions, this would be included under hauled wastewater from what I read, because it does say a wastewater holding tank, which is what these trailers and motorhomes have. That's under definition. Look under section 3, 3.13. It says, you can't do it unless, it complies with the requirements of this bylaw or where a waste discharge permit has been issued by the designated sewer officer. And that's why I asked if they had a permit or should they require a permit. And going down a little farther, 3.4, 3.5, and 3.6 all refer to a permit for hauled wastewater. So it looks to me like Canadian Tire should have or should be required to have, and again, like Justin, I got nothing against Canadian Tire, one each of these permits, assuming that we approve this. And that would be issued by the whoever's looking after it. Nathan, would that be his?
That's how.
But there's no charge for any of these permits, apparently. I didn't see anything in regards to a charge for them. Unless, again, I missed it, but I didn't see any fee schedule whatsoever included.
Any, knowledge on a permit thing? Nothing?
Certainly we can take a look at it. Yeah, I think if there are no costs currently in the permitting, the one difficult thing would be if you're going to do it by cubic meter, how are you going to measure it?
Councilor
What are you, Mayor Shankar? When I read the hauled wastewater and stuff like that, I just assumed it was a permitted company. Do you know what I mean? Like Campbell's or something like that, that would have a permit in place. And I'll be honest, I didn't see a fee structure, but I just assumed there was a cost, a flat rate for that permit.
Just to give them the information, 100 gallons on a trailer only equals 0.37 of a cubic meter. So, and we only charge 55 cents per cubic meter.
So the fee would be 20 cents?
But Canadian Tire is not charging 20 cents.
Are they charging?
Yeah, that's not a free service. I believe it was like $35-40 for a pump out. That's my understanding.
Councilor Rocky?
Just, do we charge the boats for pump outs when we do it?
What do we charge?
I believe we charge $18 a time or 180 for the season. And that's mostly just to recover the time and the equipment.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor?
I think so.
Any opposed? No opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, there's no new business tonight. No notices of motion. I do have a proclamation tonight. It's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. So, for September 2024, Whereas prostate cancer is the most diagnosed and prevalent cancer among Canadian men, accounting for 1 in 5 of new cancer cases in men. And whereas it is expected that 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. And whereas the majority of prostate cancer cases are in men over the age of 50. And whereas prostate cancer is the 3rd leading cause of cancer deaths in males. And whereas almost all prostate cancer is treatable and in many cases can be eliminated when diagnosed early. And whereas Prostate Cancer Foundation Canada is asking municipalities across Canada to help awareness by lighting up recognizable monuments in towns and cities in blue. Therefore, Council of the Corporation of the Town of Prescott does hereby proclaim September 2024 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in the Town of Prescott and supports lighting up the clock tower in blue for the month of September to help raise awareness for prostate cancer. Dated this 12th day of August, 2024. Any questions, Veronica?
No, not right now.
Thank you. There's no closed session tonight, so there's no rising report. Item 21 is the confirming bylaw. That recommendation reads that bylaw 36-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting on August 12th, 2024, be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Lockett, Councillor McConnell, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Item 22 is adjournment. The recommendation reads that the meeting be adjourned to Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. The time is now 7:32. Moved by Councillor Kirkby, seconded by Deputy Mayor Young. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone.